everybody. Welcome to the Kickin Show, brought to you each week by KickinTheTires.net. I'm Jerry Jordan, your show's host. We're on episode number 16, and I'm joined tonight by Justin Schuler, Seth Eggert, and the ever-faithful Zach Catanzarelli. How's it going tonight, Zach?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I was away for a week. It was kind of weird being away from you guys for so long, but I'm happy to be back right here before Christmas.
Well, we got Justin's out on, in California, so he's kind of the offshoot. You guys, are you still at your parents' house, Zach?
Yes, I'm here. I just got here a few days ago, so I'll be here through New Year's.
Okay, so you're up in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Seth, you're in the motherland of NASCAR in Charlotte, North Carolina, right outside. And who's getting the weather right now?
That's me.
We had some sleet yesterday.
Yeah, we got like 8 or 9 inches. We've had the fireplace going. It was a crazy storm last night, so it's cool to see. I'm looking outside and seeing just like mountains of snow. But yeah, there's no Christmas shopping going on this week, that's for sure.
Okay, well, it's 58 and sunny here in Texas, so but we had our share of bad weather earlier in the year in the form of hurricanes. But let's jump into the show, and we had some great weather on the second day a couple of weeks ago when we went down to COTA, Circuit of the Americas, and saw Austin Dillon and their cheated up Trans Am car set up that for an amateur race with a 22 setup with the new next gen car. But who knows? But maybe they were just low key the whole weekend. But what I failed miserably in reporting on Corey LaJoie. And now Corey's going to come on the show in January, and trust me, he's going to set me straight, I'm sure. But I said that I thought he was driving the number 129 Mazda Miata. He wasn't. I still don't know what car he was driving, but he was driving a different Mazda Miata, and he was tearing up the track. But he's going to talk to us about that. And he said this. I was able to talk to him earlier this week on a conference call, and he said, if NASCAR races Miatas next year, he's got a shot to win. just saying. I think there's something to that we can maybe we should lobby NASCAR to go that direction. It wouldn't be any sillier. Do what?
Fire Motorsports is bringing on a new manufacturer next year.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they bring on the what big family car does Mazda have? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a great segue into the silly season aspect of the show. When what's going on there? I mean, every year it seems more craziness, and we still have drivers that don't have rides, like Tyler Dillon. Ty Dillon.
Yeah, quite a bit, and this last couple weeks. Maybe not too much movement in the Cup Series, but definitely the Xfinity Series as of late. A couple big decisions here were made with some big teams. One of them was Myatt Snider, who'll be driving the number 2 Chevy for RCR, Richard Childress Racing and Xfinity full-time. A great announcement for Snider. I mean, boy, I tell you, he had some really good runs this past year, whether it was for him being in that 21 for RCR for, I believe, 8 races, or in the Sieg family in that number 93. I mean, it's a tough deal being a young driver. And some might not remember, but Myatt Snider, he ran all 33 races last year across 2 different cars. And that was his rookie year. And he did it with multiple teams, and that's never easy. Austin Cindric did it a few years ago, driving for multiple teams. And that definitely compounded for Myatt because he was with a small team. That 21 car, that it had some good pace, but that 93, it was a different story. And he ran 25 races for them. And I honestly think that was a huge help for him now that he's going to be going down a full-time path with a really competitive car. I mean, a car that won a championship just 1 year ago with Reddick. But there's certain things that mid-pack racing, I think, teaches you that running up front probably doesn't. And I mean, how to handle ill-handling car and outperform with it. Teaches you how to balance risk-taking with equipment that you can't just throw away and forget about. I mean, those teams, they need those parts and pieces, and how to handle traffic. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I'm sure he took from both experiences last year, and it will be a huge help for next year. And big for RCR to return the full-time Xfinity racing. As I said, That 2 car just won the title 2 years ago with Tyler Reddick and Andy Street, the crew chief. He crew chiefed the 21 all year last year, but he'll be on with Snyder this whole season. So a consistent place and a consistent face in a consistent place. So that'll be big for him. This whole changing landscape, you mentioned it, Jerry, with how the competition changes across all the series, but really Xfinity, that's really the interesting one, because guys come up from trucks. Xfinity is that ramp that can lead you right to Cup, but you have to earn it. And there's no more Christopher Bell. There's no more Cole Custer, Reddick. Chase Briscoe's gone. Cindric will be gone in a year. And these types of moves for guys like Maya Snyder, I mean, those are the type of moves that can align you with some massive success if it works out right.
Yeah.
And speaking of Chase Briscoe, it was officially announced finally that, I mean, we know he's been out for a little bit, but who was going to get into that ride? Riley Herbst. And he's coming off his first year with Joe Gibbs Racing, and he's an interesting character. I try giving every driver some room to improve. I know he needs it. It wasn't what you would imagine a Joe Gibbs Racing season would look like, especially in that 18 car. He didn't have much to build off, but again, he didn't run full-time trucks. I mean, he really jumped clean over that. He went from ARCA 2 years there to right to Xfinity, and that's a big move. He's one of those guys who did it, and you wonder how that adjustment will go. And it was hit and miss. I mean, he had points this season where he put on some solid results and others where he was in a little bit of trouble. So, I mean, the same can be said for many rookies. I mean, I think of Brandon Jones, who just a couple years ago in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment, I really didn't see him going too far. And now he's one of my championship favorites for next year. He might not win it, but he's going to be really good, I feel. He's got 4 career wins out of nowhere. So I try hard not to judge a driver based off year one. I always try to give them that second year to see how they build, how they kind of seep into the series. And this is going to be year 2 for Riley. Big shoes to fill. I like to think that the lessons he learned from last year with Gibbs will transition to Stewart House Racing, but you just never know. He's definitely one of the big question mark drivers for the new season.
One thing about him is he's got the money to back him. His family's Vegas-based. They own the Terrible Herbst convenience store gas station chain out there. That's huge for them. And the other thing, it provides money. That money is kind of, I believe, a trade-off with Monster Energy and a B2B program. And this is a prime example of how B2B programs can work across the sport. So, Riley's made some mistakes. He's wrecked some cars, but he's also shown some speed. And I think he probably needs the mentorship at SHR that he can get from Kevin and from Eric Almirola and even Tony Stewart, as someone to lean on and to talk to. And I don't think he was getting that at Joe Gibbs Racing. So I think this will be a good move for Riley.
And going back to Maya real quick, he was going to be driving the number 2, which for him is a little bit more meaningful because he actually started his career way back when in Bandoleros, Legend Cars, even late models driving the number 2. And I got to talk to him last week on the Zoom call, and he actually won the Short Track Nationals Myrtle Beach 400 driving the number 2. So for him, it's a little bit of coming home to a car number he's familiar with, not just a car number that RCR has history with in the Xfinity Series. For Riley, yes, he's made mistakes. You're meant to learn from the mistakes. Hopefully he does learn. Hopefully he does get the mentorship. He does have a lot of potential. It's a matter of whether or not he can focus that potential on track to put up the results.
Yeah, and I think too, going back to the first one with the 2 car and all that stuff, RCR has kind of already been a home for Mike Snyder, because he ran last year with the 21 car. So, and we already know how well he ran all year, going back and forth between the 2 teams, like Zach said. So, finally knowing he's going to be at 1 car, 1 ride, 1 home throughout the year, I think he's going to be able to put some stuff together and get a win or 2 maybe. probably put a good run in for the championship. That 2 car's already been a threat for the championship before with Tyler Reddick. So
yeah, and one other point was, I mean, it's always just like a little other detail, but his age. I saw he's going to be, I believe, 26 next week.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Christopher Bell, a year or two ago, he was kind of looking at that clock of these young drivers, coming in, and before they're 20, they're making Cup starts, and he was, I think, 25 at the time. Chris Bell was, and he was looking at his own watch. He's like, I'm kind of running out of time. I feel my best years right now, which is funny to hear someone your age say they're at their peak of driving, but it's kind of true. You don't want to get forgotten. So for someone who's going to be 26 here, and for him to get an opportunity like this, you have to know he was going through those same worries of, I was in Truck Series a couple years ago, now I'm part-time, what's going to happen? So it worked out, and possibly at the perfect time.
Well, in other news, this week, NASCAR put the Gen 7 car back on the track. They put it at Daytona this time. And from what I heard during the press conference and the press releases on this, it was more about gathering information and seeing where they can take the car going forward. John Probst, who's the head of all this stuff for NASCAR, he said that they want to work with the OEMs, the manufacturers, Ford, Chevy, and Toyota, and maybe whoever else down the road when we get a new manufacturer in NASCAR. We want to work with them for next year to have a vigorous training or testing schedule, and to figure out where they can test it. I would look for a test somewhere in the Charlotte area, maybe at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I don't know. But that was what Probst said in his interview, was they want to get on a local track. This is weird, a local track up in the Charlotte area. So does that mean a short track? Does that mean Charlotte Motor Speedway? Does that mean go up the road to Martinsville? I'm not sure what he meant by that, but as Chris Buescher said in his interview, what he did out on the track was a lot of data gathering, and they were able to go pretty fast with the car, but it was more technical than some of the other tests that I think they've had in the past. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on it, but this was the green and black car, by the way. This was NASCAR's Gen 7 car. It was not the car that was built by Action Express, which is the red and black car that I had photos of on Kickin the Tires back in July, I believe.
I think having testing in multiple places, so that way they know how that car is going to react on a short track, on a mile and a half. Heck, even with the restrictor plates at like a Talladega or Daytona or something like that. Maybe go to I don't know how realistic like a Michigan would be, but maybe Atlanta, since that would be that high speed track like that would be something close to that. So
have they done a short track yet? The Gen 7?
No, they haven't. At least not that I can remember.
Phoenix is the closest thing they've done with that car, I believe.
Yeah, Phoenix and Dover as far as track length. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say take it to Hickory or someplace. Maybe some beat up old track.
That's honestly what I was thinking.
Yeah, take it to Hickory.
That's honestly what I was thinking. Something like Hickory or Southern National Motorsports Park or something else in the Charlotte or North Carolina area.
Heck, just make a call to Dale Jr. He's got a key to all those tracks, basically, apparently. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell something on myself here. We talk about Hickory. I've only seen one single thing run on Hickory Speedway. That was the Wienermobile. I'm serious. That's the only thing I've seen on that track was the Wienermobile. I was up there for a presser and stuff with Roush a few years ago. So I have to admit, I have never seen a race at Hickory.
Boom, I got it. Rockingham. Just take it up to Rockingham and just throw a whole bunch of stuff out there.
The Cars Tour was actually testing at Rockingham this past weekend because they're going to be racing at Rockingham next year. They were doing a tire test.
North Wilkesboro.
Yes. Yes.
Start it now.
Just get all the pictures out there, make all the rumors start.
Hey, they did just clean up all the weeds for iRacing.
That's right. North Wilkesboro. There you go. That would be the That would be the track that they need to take it at. Maybe we can do some Photoshop work and float it around on Reddit, and then that'll get everybody stirred up.
There you
go. That's my segment. What do you got? Seth, I think we may have some iRacing stuff going on.
Yeah, we did. First off, I did run in the Monday Night League this past weekend. We ran street stocks at Legacy Phoenix, and I had 2 days of thunder moments on the final overtime. One in which I got through the wreck and jumped from 24th to 8th. It was a 23-car wreck. And then another one coming off the final corner, coming to the checkered, when I hit a car that shouldn't have been there. Honestly, no offense to off-axis paint, but if you have damaged suspension, maybe don't try continuing on track.
I got a question. Who caused the 23-car pilot?
A combination of Ryan Farkas and Anthony Alfredo.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Pro level drivers. Pro level driver. Did they get suspended or kicked out of the?
Oh, the chat was pretty entertaining for a little bit.
I did hear there might be a probation for one driver. So they are starting to crack down on some things.
Well, that's good. It's about time. But you know what?
I finished 8th in that race, so
we're good.
Hey, there you go.
Fans Racing is going to have an awesome league coming up next year.
Yes. Nick Sanchez won that race. But over on the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series, Isaac Gann dominated the race, locked himself into the Coca-Cola Series next year with one race left to go. 5 drivers are now locked in. Garrett Maines from Elliott Sadler Esports and Richmond Raceway Esports. He is in the developmental program for Richmond. It's a little bit of a complicated deal for him. Mitchell DeYoung of Coanda Simsport and Virtual Racing School. Mm-hmm. Isaac Gann from North Force Racing. Nathan Lyon and Ashton Crowder.
What about our driver?
Our driver, Brandon Cattell, well, at Charlotte, he did not make a qualifying lap. Started 39th, last on the grid.
Yeah.
Raced his way up to 18th before green flag pit stops. Took the lead during the first round of green flag pit stops. Went a lap down. Got back on the lead lap. Back up to 18th. Caution came out. Restarted 4th. Came home 6th.
Nice.
Nice. In a Kickin the Tires car. I gotta love that. Now,
right now he. Well, right now, without the drop week, he is 5 points out.
Ooh.
With the drop week factored in, he is 6 points in.
Oh, jeez.
So he's got to race hard. Where's the finale at next week?
Homestead Miami Speedway.
And where does he have to finish to advance?
I believe he has to finish guaranteed. No matter who wins, he has to finish 5th or better.
Okay.
But
I may have to give some more money to get a better engine in that car.
Oh, I don't know. He's gonna make it work.
But I will say this: based on average finishes, if he finishes where the average finish projects him to finish, he would make it in and would be 16th out of the top 21 and in by 15 points.
So, okay, everybody. So the reason why this is such a big deal is because Kickin the Tires is sponsoring Brandon Cattell in the series. And this is the leader to go into the big Coca-Cola Racing Series next year. And I can guarantee you we'll be on this car at some point during the season. I don't know if I can afford the whole season, but we'll be on the car.
It depends on which team picks him as well.
It depends on which team picks him, and we'll work out some kind of a deal with them. Look, I've never met a team or advertiser that I couldn't trade something out for. But that's, this is big for Kickin the Tires to have a legitimate driver competing for real wins in the virtual world. That sounds kind of odd, doesn't it?
And we will know in 1 week's time whether or not he will make the Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And speaking of Coca-Cola, I believe there is a little bit of Coca-Cola news in the real world of racing, right, Justin?
Yeah, that's with Bubba Wallace. We all know he is not going to be racing with Richard Petty Motorsports next year. He's signed a deal with Denny Hamlin's new team. He's partnered with Michael Jordan, and they've got the 23XI Racing coming into play in 2021. They've already got the charter set up for the 23 car and everything. Just kind of the big overall question that's kind of been floating out there for the past month or two has been kind of what are the sponsors, what are the stickers that are going to be on the car. And so we finally hear they announced their sponsorship deals, but one of the bigger ones that I caught was that one of those sponsors is going to be Dr. Pepper. We've kind of seen lots of different drinks and across lots of different cars, you know, Mountain Dew being with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and then Chase Elliott. Pepsi's been kind of around here and there, and then obviously you have your Coca-Cola racing family of drivers, but Bubba Wallace gets his Dr. Pepper sponsorship now. The interesting part of that is that he is one of the Coca-Cola drivers. So with this sponsorship, that's going to end at the end of this calendar year, obviously, and now he's going to be just a regular driver, quote unquote, just not one of the Coca-Cola drivers, since he now has a Dr. Pepper sponsorship. So that I kind of thought was a little interesting of a change there. So I think that now brings the total list of Coca-Cola drivers down to about 6. I know it used to be around a dozen or so back in the day.
You have Newman, Hamlin, Austin, Dillon, Suarez.
Not Lawson anymore.
No, they cut ties with Larson. I'm trying to remember who else there was.
Racing family of drivers, go! Let's see. Yeah, so it's Hamlin, Austin Dillon, and then, like you said, Kyle Larson. Joey Logano was the other one that I was thinking of. And then, like you said, Newman and Suarez. So, obviously, Larson getting cut ties earlier this year, and then Bubba Wallace going to be cut at the end of this year. It's now down to just, Hamlin, Dillon, Logano. Yeah, it's down to just those 5. So
I wonder if they move to replace either Bubba and or Larson, because I think they had planned on having 7 until Larson used a racial slur on iRacing earlier this year and lost all of his sponsors, which he has atoned for. And Bubba now leaving. I wonder if they keep it at 5 or if they add another 1 or 2. And there was a little bit of talk yesterday. I know Bob Palkers was talking about Pepsi not renewing at Hendrick. So
yeah,
it's interesting timing.
Yeah, because he pointed out all the pictures with Chase Elliott, because he ran the Mountain Dew paint scheme, right? So all of his new pictures, I guess, that they started to publish for like his hero cards and to distribute to all their sponsors for whatever thing they need to do with all that stuff. But basically, the Mountain Dew patch was gone, so that's where it kind of led to, oh, hey, where's Pepsi now? And no one could see Pepsi in any of the pictures either. So
that's an interesting observation. I want to circle back to the Dr. Pepper part of what we were talking about. Dr. Pepper is owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper, which also owns 7-Up, Snapple, Canada Dry, RC Cola, the Keurig Coffee Company, obviously, as well as Bai, like the coconut water Bai drink, BAI, and then Core Nutrition drinks as well. So there is a plethora of beverages and other things that Keurig Dr. Pepper could put on that car if it's a Dr. Pepper sponsorship, because I would assume that's a corporate sponsorship and not just a brand drink sponsorship.
So if that means if he gets the buy drink, that would be like the perfect way, as he passes someone, he could literally say bye.
Bye.
Hey, Jerry, how do you know so much about drinks all of a sudden?
I have Google.
And
honestly,
how I knew about the Coca-Cola drivers.
So here, let me tell you, seriously, my dad actually used to work for Coca-Cola years ago when I was a kid. So I've kind of always kept up with the market. Actually, 7-Up and Dr. Pepper, they used to be competitors, and 7-Up and Schweppes merged, I believe, and then Schweppes and Dr. Pepper got together, and then Keurig, the little coffee pod things, they ended up buying everybody. So it's a convoluted and twisted story, but if you ever want to know more about the soft drink industry, read about it. And also Waco here in Texas, they have a Dr. Pepper museum, because Dr. Pepper was actually formed and created here in Texas. So I know a little bit, obviously, about that from our state's history. But good question, Zach. I'm on my toes when it comes to soft drinks.
And something that makes me think, I wonder if we'll see the Dr. Pepper car on track then at COTA and Texas Motor Speedway.
I would bet money on it. And I'm going to tell you this, because they're going to be in NASCAR, and because they're originally a Texas-based company, and because I've tried everything else to get other soft drink companies, why not reach out to Dr. Pepper and see if they'd like to sponsor Kickin' the Tires?
Why not?
You know, that piques my interest.
But it is at least the most recent time that Dr. Pepper is on the car, and actually the last time they were on the car, they were also on the 23 car, BK Racing, with Alex Bowman.
Well, you know why? The 23 is the number of flavors, or ingredients that go into Dr. Pepper.
Yep. Well, they did also.
They crashed every year.
Do what?
Well,
there's the amount of cars they crashed every year as well.
well, to be fair though, to be fair to Dr. Pepper, though, they did actually sponsor the 50 car in the Xfinity Series back in, I want to say 2000, Washington Irving Racing, and that was driven by Tony Roper until he got released and unfortunately lost his life later on that year in a truck series accident.
Yeah. Ironically, I just Googled Dr. Pepper in the 23. October 1st, 2020, there's a story out called The Truth About Dr. Pepper's Blend of 23 Flavors. So, as Zach said, the blend of 23 cars crashing when they were BK racing.
Oh, gosh.
Imagine this being a Dr. Pepper, guys.
There you go. Product placement.
Come on.
Your brand here.
There you go.
Every podcast.
Just 22 more sips. That's all you got to take.
I'm gonna go. You know what? If Dr. Pepper, yeah, I'm all about it. Let's get him on the show.
Oh, either that, or we could all be Coca-Cola racing family drivers, right? And just do that. Hey,
I've heard they don't have any money, so.
That too.
We've had a lot of fun tonight. It's kind of a shortened show, obviously, for those that don't know. This is the week before Christmas. Christmas is happening next week. We're going to have an abbreviated show next week and an abbreviated show after that. We're going to tape those in advance. Before we leave you guys tonight, I think we've covered everything on our list, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in traditional fashion, NASCAR this past week put together its annual In Remembrance, and you can go see this on our YouTube channel, on the Kickin the Tires Kickin Show YouTube channel. But this is a video. It's about a 4.5 to 5 minute video, remembering those that we've lost in the racing world this past year, and some of those included obviously John Andretti, Bob Baer, who was the founder of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Lorraine Gerardo, who was, you may not know who she is, but she was an assistant to the France family. She helped the France family, do pretty much everything. Then we've got, obviously, right towards the end of the year, they were on their honeymoon. Blakley and Rowdy Harrell. I'm sorry, I hate to butcher that name. They were Hendrick Motorsports employee, and his wife were killed in a car accident, I believe. Going to Florida after their wedding. Flossie Johnson, the first lady of NASCAR, who was Junior Johnson's wife and a former car owner, according to Seth.
4 races in 1991.
Because of course, Junior Johnson ticked NASCAR off. As if moonshine wasn't bad enough. But I got to meet Junior Johnson. He was a great guy. So he was always fun to be around, and always had a smile on his face. And miss that. Maurice Petty, a huge name in the world of NASCAR. and Vicki Wood. She was a NASCAR trailblazer, female driver back in the day. Remember all of these people. And there's one final name here, and I tried to get this person to interview with me a decade ago, and that was Freddy Fryar. Freddy Fryar, the Beaumont Flyer. He was a race car driver from here. He was sponsored by Fasulo's Paint and Body. This is my hometown. He won the Snowball Derby, I believe, Seth said in 79 and 81, yep. And raced in NASCAR. He did some crew chief work and worked for the Richard Petty driving experience as well. So all of these people and more. We lost a lot of people in NASCAR this past year, and IMSA, International Motorsports Association. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families and anybody else who we have not been able to mention or didn't know about. So wanted everybody to take a moment of silence and think about that. And that's going to do it here. I hate to end the show on a sad note, but that's going to do it here for everybody. KickingTheTires.net. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, and we'll see you in 2021.
In all of the cities and places I've seen, and all of the people and miles in between, I would trade only to be with you. And all of the sunsets and days on the ocean, reflections of stars on top of the mountains, I'd give it all away only to be with you. And oh, my love, you know I would. If I thought that I could, or add it all up and give it all away only to be with you. And all of my words and the melodies that hold me, and all of the notes that all placed and wrapped in these strings, only to be with you. And all of my dreams and the things that come true, I've looked at my future and all that I wanted to do, only to be with you. And oh, my love, you know I would. If I thought that I could, we'll add it all up, give it all away only to be with you. could. We'll add it all up and give it all away, only to be with you, only to be with you, only to be with you.